Greetings and a warm welcome to Member Musing, brought to you by the Middle East and North Africa's Leisure and Attractions Council. This captivating video podcast series is your gateway to engaging dialogues regarding the MENA leisure and entertainment sector. We also shed light on pioneering products, offerings and accomplishments of our esteemed Menalac members. Now, today I have with me Noel Dempsey, Business Development Director of Pico. Noel is also joined by Bruce Ramus, Art Director at Ramus Illumination. Welcome, Noel and Bruce.
Thanks, Brooke. It's great to be here.
Yeah, fantastic.
All the way from the other side of the world.
Absolutely. Hopefully the sun is still shining where you are.
No problem.
Thank you both for appearing on Member Musing, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the collaboration between the two companies in this episode. Now, Menalac member Pico specialises in delivering themed attractions and entertainment for a variety of projects, including theme parks, nature parks, water parks, family entertainment centres, surf parks, and experiences. Noel, that sounds like quite a tall order. Can you tell me more about Pico, but in your own words?
Well, we call it. It's a great job to have. We work across all of those disciplines. The company was in Australia, my background is as CEO for large-scale resorts and theme parks, and there was a missing gap in the market, to be quite honest. And the business has grown substantially since then into Southern Asia, Northern Asia, and now into the Middle East, where most of our projects are now offshore from Australia. It was born about because of the need to create a full service solution for the industry, as opposed to just elements of the whole process. And I'm happy to explain that in a little bit more if you'd like.
Yeah, can you perhaps give me some examples of significant projects as well, Noel, just to sort of...
Yeah.
It's the design, you design everything.
Well,
correct?
So when someone's thinking of a large-scale attraction, the first thing is they might have an idea. Now, ideas are free, and that's good. However, that idea really needs to be shaped into a concept that has a greater chance of success. Who is the market? How many people are expecting to come? What's the demographic or the point of difference you're trying to create? And all of that gets developed into a business plan. And that business plan can run 100, 200 pages long. It becomes an investment prospectus to give people the confidence about the project. It shows what the return on investment would be. Now, a lot of people don't do that, and they're prone to greater chances of failure, because this guide and business plan will help position the attraction at the right pitch, the right scale, the right level of investment. I have so many clients that say, "No, I want a water park." And I say, "Well, how much do you want to spend?" "I don't know." Well, straight away, you'd have to think there's a fair chance of failure there. So then that business plan gets shaped into all of the design services, detailed design, schematic, concept design, all the way up to construction drawings ready for tender. So we hold your hand the whole way through. And then lastly, we'll help you run an attraction. So we have an operating business development area that will help run an attraction either under license or under franchise. So different to other companies, it's end-to-end, full service. And because I'm an operator, I'm not going to suggest something that's not going to work. I would be involved as the voice of the customer and the operator at every step of the way. The design needs to be fit for purpose, can't just be pretty pictures. It needs to work in an operating sense on the ground and appeal to the customer. So it's that end-to-end solution that makes us a little bit different. There's great design companies, there's great building companies, there's great investment companies who'll do you a prospectus, but we provide that end-to-end service.
And theme parks, water parks, even family entertainment centres. I think if you really think about it, there is so much that goes into them. So having that support and that help from yourselves, from Pico Play, I can imagine, is fantastic. And that's obviously why your company is so, large as well. You must have a lot of staff looking at all those different departments.
Yeah, we do. Each of those areas has its own. So Pico Play is a subsidiary of a much larger company called the Pico Group. And the Pico Group is listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and has representation in more than 35 cities across the world. Now, they tend to specialize more in brand activation. Think of large-scale events and exhibitions and conferences in our neck of the woods in the Middle East. You can think of the Qatar World Cup last year. They provide a lot of the activation and support for that. The Dubai Expo, they were the pavilion makers. So that's more their specialty, whereas ours is attractions. So the good thing for us is we have 7 offices around the world. We've got 2 factories, and I hope soon another one in the Middle East, that create a lot of the theming and fabrication work. But I've also got an army of 35 Pico officers who are there representing us across the world. So we're very fortunate. When we started to enter the Middle East about 12 months ago, we already have officers on the ground there, and that's a big advantage in the region.
It sounds like you're doing it all, but you've found a little gap. You've begun exploring light installations as attractions. And I believe you recently held a webinar about this After Dark theme, where you discussed how businesses can benefit from creating and developing, installing light installations. How did this concept capture Pico Play's attention? What's been the journey so far? I guess this is how your partnership with Ramus Illuminations began.
Yeah, so as by way of introduction, you mentioned earlier that we do play in a lot of sectors: theme parks, surf parks, water parks. And of course, they're well represented around the world. But we found that light art as a genre has specific advantages to complement those other core attractions. Firstly, everywhere goes dark at some point in time. So you've got an opportunity to create light art. 2 is light can be shaped to the size and space that you have available, and not necessarily with a huge plot of land. Light art has a wide demographic appeal. Everyone likes the fact that light can communicate with them and evoke a sense of feeling. And Bruce will talk a little bit more about that. And then lastly, we're also then able to create new revenue streams from light. There may be a core attraction, surf park, water park, theme park during the day. Another opportunity presents itself at night in a light art installation. So it's got lots of advantages, and we think it's ideally suited for the Middle East.
100%.
So tell me, Bruce, how long have you been working with Pico Play? And I think you're the experts in the illumination world. Maybe it's a really quick summary about Ramus Illumination, and then what are you hoping the 2 companies together to achieve?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Brooke, and thanks, Noel. He's a great speaker, this guy. Ramus has been around for about 15 years in this sort of capacity. This is our studio here in Melbourne. I've been working with light, and I'm Canadian, and before I moved to Australia, I designed large-scale rock concerts for many, many years for many famous bands you've probably heard of or even been to their concerts. Then I started to see that what we were developing there could be brought to our cities, and it could start to change the fabric and the feel of our cities. And that became something that is light art or media architecture, it's often called when it gets into an urban design context. And that's the strongest movement in urban design in the last 100 years. it is moving at a rate of knots and very powerful. And as Noel suggested, it's a natural form that we all connect with. Everybody gets light. It is equal across the board, rich, old, poor, indigenous, immigrant, anything like that. It is, people understand it deeply. And light can expand companies, can expand relationships. That's what it does naturally. And so when Noel contacted me, it seemed a really great fit for us. We've just developed a big project out of Uluru here in Central Australia, which is a permanent show that tells the story, a light and sound show and drones that tells the story of the Ananu traditional owners there. So it's really a cultural storytelling platform. And when Noel contacted us, it seemed just such a great fit. We get on personally. It was really an easy relationship to develop. And I saw the opportunities that Noel presented within attractions and companies that are looking to develop nighttime economies, develop new revenue streams, as Noel suggested. So, and this is such a beautiful, free-flowing art form that is beginning to be seen around cities worldwide. So that's what attracted. And I think we've been talking about it for about a year, I guess. And now we're starting to move into the space. We have done, I don't know, a half a dozen webinars across the world, and now moving into the MENA region.
The collaboration between the two companies does make a lot of sense when you understand the both of them. And I personally do love light at night. In cities, you've got a lot going on. But in theme parks, like you've mentioned a little bit there, sort of Noel, about the visitors stay later and they want to see the sights in the dark as well. I can think of some particular theme parks, but I won't name names. And I've also seen light being used on some costumes of musicians as well. So what should our audience be envisioning as we're talking about light installations, without perhaps getting too technical? Bruce, are you able to kind of be a bit more descriptive as to what these light installations might look like?
Well, they take so many forms, and it can't be narrowed down, but it could be, anything. It could be quite sculptural, so a form that takes on light, or if there is an existing form that can be almost dematerialized with light. So you don't see the form, you just look at the light. Or if there's no structure, no infrastructure, we can build it up with light and drones and sound, so that can create a show or an event that's permanent, so that can be ticketed or it can be free. There's many different options that it can take. And creatively, it can either be a very sort of abstract art installation, or it can tell a specific narrative. It can be quite a storytelling platform. And the beauty of this is you can tell one story, and when you want to tell your next story, you reprogram it and tell the next story. Now you have two stories. And so it's a programmable, flexible, adaptable platform that's has a very light touch on the earth. You don't need a lot of built form or built infrastructure to be able to launch these amazing installations that really captivate people's imaginations.
Yeah, if I can just add there, Brooke, great attractions stand for more than just the physical activity itself, the fastest roller coaster, the biggest wave. Yes, that's nice, but great attractions and experience make you feel something. There's an emotional connection. And that's what light is able to do. Bruce tells a great story in my learning about light. Think of Times Square in New York. When you go there, it's an explosion of the senses on you. But it's not really a place you want to stay. It just sort of goes, bang, it's all on you. Advertising, bang, bang, bang. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not really communicating. So there's good light and there's bad light, is what I've learned. Good light communicates and evokes that emotion. And Bruce has got all of the design principles. Our job is to package it into a business plan. So that business plan could be, all right, it might be place art on a building to highlight a location. That probably doesn't need a business plan. But when you're talking about events, ticketed events, larger scale events that are starting to rival theatre, cinema, and others, they should have a business plan. We should understand the market, the demographic, do a cash flow. That'll help us determine the budget, the pricing, and then deliver it operationally. So we have the rock star and the business planner, and together we hope to show you the light.
Yeah. And I think also you can see how, companies are starting to see the benefit of this, but so are cities and countries. We're working on a project in the making in Dubai, which will speak for the entire city. It is something, so it's starting to transform cities. So you can really get a sense of it and get a sense of how it can communicate. Light is communication. That is how it works.
Is that a project you can tell me a bit more about in Dubai, or are we a bit tight-lipped?
It's tight-lipped at the moment. We've been in development with it for 2 years now, and probably it's another 1.5 to 2 years away. But it's it's very large scale and will be a permanent installation there. So we're coming to the region. It's happening. We feel like there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of visionary people, throughout the region, whether it's in the Gulf states or in Saudi or North Africa. There's a lot of opportunity and just a hunger for light.
With the two of you working predominantly in Australia and then the Southeast Asian market, we're talking about Pico Play and Ramus Illumination coming over and developing projects in the MENA region. But can you tell me a bit more what you see the MENA region as in terms of the leisure, entertainment and amusement sector, just from your eyes, further across the world, the consumers, the trends, are the trends similar that you see in other countries that you have work in? Maybe the opportunities and the offerings, are they more exciting? Are they different?
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let me start by saying we may be based in Australia, but we travel regularly. I've been in the Middle East and Saudi many times, and as projects are developing, we're an international company. So we're well aware of the region. I mean, certainly from a worldwide perspective, there's just been this growing middle class opportunity with more higher disposable income across the world that presents enormous opportunities. And countries are saying, well, why are our residents traveling to other locations? Why can't we provide those amenities here? And it's no surprise that UAE through Dubai and Abu Dhabi 10 plus years ago went on a journey to create those locations as a destination and put the location on a map so that people didn't need to travel. The challenge as I see it in that space is probably a lot of the market back then said, well, we've got to have what's elsewhere in the world. We have to replicate what we've seen and it's somewhere else. Yes and no. There are some great examples between Disney and Universal Studios, etc. But there is no reason that locations cannot create their own bespoke attractions across many sectors that appeal more to that demographic and create a point of difference. So if I was to say there was an opportunity, it's probably to look at more individual content that can be created in the region.
Yeah, I'd agree entirely. And I've seen, a lot of beautiful pieces in the region and a lot of beautiful opportunities. What I haven't really seen is what is the story? Like, for instance, in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, what is the story of there? What are you telling? I've seen screens everywhere. I've seen the Burj Khalifa. There's a lot of things happening. There's the Ain Dubai, but it seems like, yeah, they're copying somewhere from somewhere else. Whereas the architecture is quite unique. The Museum of the Future and the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, beautifully designed pieces. And I feel like events and attractions can go deeper. They can speak to the lived experience of those people in this region, in the MENA region. What are your stories? What do you want to say? Let's talk about that. Let's go deeper into this. And I feel like that's where the opportunity lies. That's where I feel the creative minds and the visionaries are going to go, is we want to tell our story and do it in a spectacular world first way.
Yeah. I mean, you see the growth now in Saudi under the Saudi Vision 2030. They're wanting to make big changes and quickly. In response, now we're seeing the UAE with almost a second wave of investment to reinvigorate that market. And you've got projects in Oman and Qatar, etc. Everyone's looking to get a slice of the action. Don't just go and copy what someone else has done. I think we can deliver attractions that have a sense of purpose and emotion that resonate deeper to just a very fast roller coaster. So that's what our job, and particularly in light art, that's what this partnership is about, creating unique attractions that have a deeper sense of purpose and communication.
Yeah, it's not about going to an attraction to lose yourself there. It's about going there, go deeper.
I agree what you were saying there, the both of you, about just maybe the world in general is becoming very digital and relying on that technology that we, rightly have worked on and are excited about. And you've got VR, AR, you've got AI, in all industries now, but bringing it back to something a bit more organic and raw, like you were saying about the light. And I think there's a sense of calm sometimes as well with the light, because it's, natural. And you can enjoy just watching it, whether it's a standalone experience or that more storytelling, which I was excited to hear, because I hear from other members on this podcast trends of trying to tell a story through an attraction, whether it be at a theme park or at a water park. And so I can see there how actually other elements can come together, as well as with the light, and tell a story perhaps about the identity of a venue, of a culture, a country, a community. And I think it sounds really exciting. What is this specific feedback that you've gotten from consumers or companies you've developed the light installations for? How do they? What's been the feedback from using the light installations?
Well, today we're talking about it, and it's a very visual medium, and so we're happy to provide a lot of the content that we've put together with Ramus to showcase some of the styles of light art. But everyone gets excited about it because it feels good. And then clients are saying, Noel, where do I start? How do I start? Well, you start by connecting with us so that we have a deeper understanding of your need, the space, your objective. Is it just a static piece of art, or is it going to go all the way to a monumental project? And that brief, making sure that we understand the brief is critical for success, both with the space and the style of attraction and its purpose. And then that could take 2 or 3 months to get that sort of due diligence. And then we've got a live project. We would do the business plan for that project with the space provided, all the way through to a cash flow and return on investment. That would help give the client some guidance around the budget. And then we let Bruce loose in his laboratory, and all of that magic starts to happen only when we know the right space. And let me say, this is not just Ramus has done something beautiful in Australia or in Asia, oh, we'll just do it again. No, everything needs to be unique to the location. Tell a story, because it's about how it makes you feel, less about how overpowering the lights can be or a sensory overload. There's got to be a depth to it. So that due diligence is pretty important in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, we get feedback from our clients, you know, like at Uluru, this is an ancient story that was in the caves under a sacred rock, and it has been shared with the world. This is a cultural transformation that is changing the lives, both, you know, physically and temporally and financially, for an entire culture. So it's very, very powerful. And you can hear it in our words, you know, step into the light. If you've understood something, you've seen the light. Or if I think you're intelligent, I would call you bright or brilliant. If not, I'd think you're dim. You know, so it's in our language. It's the way we speak. It's how we communicate. So it's a beautiful, inclusive art form. And this partnership with Noel has brought, it has allowed it to be to go deep and be meaningful and commercially viable. That's so powerful, that combination.
It all sounds really exciting, and I don't know if I can wait a year for the Dubai project.
As soon as I know, I'll let you know, Brooke.
Thank you. And I'm sure there are examples that we can see of these light installations and projects, and hopefully you're going to do some more webinars as well.
Yeah. Look, we've done a recording is available for people that are interested, or to make contact directly with myself at Pico Play or Bruce at Ramus. But yeah, there's lots of visual content that's available to showcase those projects. Some of the current projects in the Middle East are embargoed until such times as the client would like them to be known. But they're all special and very unique. But we want to do more. So give us a call.
Well, Noel and Bruce, thank you so much for joining me today and bringing your insights on how we can enhance the leisure and entertainment industry.
Our pleasure. Thanks for asking, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
Good luck. And I encourage our audience to check out the collaboration, check out Pico Play, check out Ramus Illumination, and be patient while the MENA region finds more of these light installation projects to bring you. Thank you to our audience for tuning in to this episode. I hope you found it just as illuminating as I have. Make sure you're subscribed to Menalac's digital platforms and social media channels, where we bring you the latest news and information from the MENA region's leisure, entertainment and amusement industry. To find out more about Pico Play and their After Dark concept with Ramus Illumination, head to their website and social media channels, which we'll put in the description section of this episode. Stay tuned as we bring you another prominent discussion here on Member Musing soon. But until then, bye for now.